my customers say that my insight seems to turn basic negotiators into top-earning superstars. So this is my core business. I speak on conflict resolution and negotiating skills. So imagine a world where everyone would understand each other's culture. Imagine this world. And imagine we would accept and respect our differences. Now imagine a world where there wouldn't be any borders between Europe and America anymore. No visa, no green card, no authorization to work and live in another country than your own. Wouldn't this be wonderful? Though there's so much ego in this planet, we heard this yesterday all day long. My aim is to move people from egotiation to negotiation. That's my promise. This morning we'll have a reflection on culture, and I'll talk about these stupid stereotypes. These stereotypes that hold us from getting the best deals ever worldwide. We'll have a look at European and American stereotypes. And I'll try and give you a roadmap for business efficacy between Europe and America. Even though I'm not American, I've had a couple experiences with America. I've been working for the last 5 years with American companies. And it's a great pleasure this morning to just give you a couple of insights about my experience and my expertise. So what we can say is diversity is really the true thing we all have in common between Europe and America and the rest of the world. Anybody would disagree with this? No. All right. Now, what do you think Americans and Europeans think about each other? Which map is this one? What do we see on this map? That's the American map. And how do you think Europeans see Americans? How do you see Americans?
Very big.
Very big, that's the word. And you're German, I know. How do you see?
Yeah, far away.
Far away. Okay. Well, let me tell you about my experience. The first contact I ever had with America was about 8 years old. And my grandfather, who used to travel a lot for his business at that time, would come back from his journeys and would tell me, as a small child, you can imagine me, America, there is a dream there. The American dream really does exist. Everything's possible there. And you can imagine myself, small child, looking like this at her grandfather and saying to herself, 8 years old, I will go there once. This is what I was feeling about America when I was 8. A little bit later, I was about 20, and I dreamt my ball dress to go dancing would look like Marilyn Monroe's. Even though I don't have the figure anymore today, imagine me when I was 19, would be a little bit like this. And so, more seriously and more recently, my first NSA convention was in 2008, and I met the most wonderful people there. It was in New York. That was my first real travel to America. I was 46. So you can imagine how long I had to wait since the age of 8 until 46. Okay? So that was my first real contact. And I remember, and I want to share with you, this fabulous energy and optimism I felt in that country. Now, United States, myths and realities. You can read this by your own. I mean, 13 colony, one purpose, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And this is exactly what I felt, I just told you about. manifest destiny, the spirit of conquest. Go west, young man. That's another one that I felt over there. And here and now, local media, though, world ignorance. I remember that TV show where that blonde, I'm not blonde, don't look at me. When, this young lady, she was asked, where is Budapest? Maybe you remember. Any Americans in this room? Yes? Remember this TV show? This young lady was asked, where is Budapest? And she said, where is this country? Okay. So many Americans don't actually know where Europe is. Okay? A consensus society will have to agree to disagree. Well, I do have many comments on that one. Because, of course, you have to agree to disagree. Though this makes it a little bit difficult in business because, as you know, I am French, are not politically correct. Though American, they will never really tell you what they mean, what they really think. You will never know it directly. And this is something I, as a French, have an issue with. I really do. It's a fabulous melting pot. And also, there is no gray color in America. It's either black or white. That is also something I wanted to share you with. And to step into the American business, ladies and gentlemen, you will have to think big. And that's the word that came out of Francis from France's mouth. You have to think big. Everything has to be big. So now, this is the fabulous melting pot I was just mentioning. And, well, I looked on the internet for all of these pictures. Do you recognize them? Yes? Any person you really like? Yeah? Yes. That was exactly the dress I wanted to wear. And I actually can, with my boobs, I can wear this type of dress. So I actually wore this dress when I was 19 for my first ball. And, diamonds are the girl's best friend. You know this one, okay? So that's fabulous melting pot and that marvelous energy. Now, what do you think? Americans, how do Americans see Europe? Do they see it? Is there any... Now, I would like to have your insights because each time I will get a nice answer from you, and here my colleagues will come on stage with me, you will get one of these wonderful T-shirts. Okay? So we all, we have an American with us, we have a German, we have one Dutch, two Dutch, one German, and one French, two French. So, what is your answer? How do you guys see Europe? Your home. Can you give... That's right, that's right. Very cultured, very cultured, yes. Yes? Yes. Well, when you look at this melting pot back again, thank you, my friends. When you look at this melting pot back again, couldn't these people be European as well? When you look at them. Okay? And that's what I love about America, is that everything's possible again there. You can have your own dream and you can make your dream come true there. There might be a trouble with Sitting Bull. Yeah, that's right, that's right. Okay. So, now let me give you a few insights about Europe. In Europe, there is heaven, though there's also hell in Europe. Any ideas what could heaven be like in Europe? France. What particularly in France? What particularly would be heaven in France? Yes, wow, that was good. The chefs would be all French or maybe Italian. You like Italian food? Yes. How about the cops would be all would be British or Dutch? And yes, and there would be the mechanics would be German. The mechanics would be German, that's right. How about hell? Let's think about the cooks. That's right. Well, hell, the chefs are all British. I mean, to my experience, because I remember when I was about 15 years old, I went there with my grandfather again because he was traveling a lot and he opened up my mind. I remember having to eat that mint jelly. Remember that? Ever had that experience? It's illegal now, yeah. Well, what nationality would the cops be? The mechanics would be French and the cops would be German, yes. So, remember I told you that you would get some wonderful t-shirts. So maybe you can choose after the show, you can choose your size. I have a few medium, L and XL, all right? I didn't bring XXXL with me. Sorry about you. Now, if you look at me, and I don't want you guys to be politically correct right now, okay? I know Americans in this room, so please don't be politically correct, all right? When you look at me, would you say I'm nice-looking thin lady? Or would you say I'm pretty fat? Nice-looking, pretty fat. All right, so just let me tell you, I could be American. I could be American. Look at the right-hand side. Yes? And, well, there's an issue behind that photo. Because, you know, there is very much obesity in America. I mean, this is also what really stunned me when I first traveled to America in 2008. I looked at these people, and I had never seen in the stores, you know, jeans about that big from the waist. I mean, this was really surprising for me as a European. You know, so big. It's an issue. It's an issue for women, you know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the American culture think big. Yeah, that's right. Well, it's an issue. You know, just in Europe, and particularly in France, 33% obesity right now, about half of it 10 years ago. So it really is an issue for women and for men as well. Notice that I put the censure, even I'm French, but you know, I didn't want to shock you, so. Well, now, a good way to get rid of that kilo fat is to jog. Yep. Did you run this morning? Last night. I have never seen, I mean, when I travel to America, I usually stay at nice bed and breakfast. I don't like these big towers, you know, but I like staying at small places, small houses, or even at friends that I know now. Which one do you think he's American on the picture? Is the car? Oh. What is your size? L? Give her a big round of applause. Because the right answer is on the right, yeah. And this picture was taken in America. Huh? It could be both. It could be both. That's right, exactly. I have noticed, I mean, I don't run myself. I'm far too heavy to run. It hurts my bones when I run. So I'd rather swim. But, you know, I have never seen as many Americans run than in the US, and even Europeans, because when you see all these people running, you feel like running yourself. Yeah? Now, this picture was taken by a Dutch. The German, it's a German soccer player on the right-hand side, because only the Dutch can say that the German brought this attitude in sport. Though, what is not really interesting in the game is I remember spending about, well, the whole night, because the meeting was at 11 p.m. and it would last until 4 a.m. in the morning. And you think you know what I'm talking about. It's these games where would be interrupted by advertisements every about 10 minutes. This is just amazing for me. Is there?
When you went to a university, you support your team, so you see more of that here.
Yes, Robert?
What I was struck by when I went through talk&do, the country pride is up there front and center versus the Americans. They're just almost disconnected.
Yes, it's a little bit more disconnected. I agree with this. Thank you for this insight. It's very interesting. Well, in America and in Europe, we all have our own Leonardo. Yeah? You know Leonardo the turtle on the right? Anybody knows this one? It's a very famous cartoon. Yes, and well, Leonardo da Vinci and this one, which is approximately, I think it's the most visited painting in at Le Louvre in France in the world. Yeah. So just to say I'm not saying here, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying here that there's no culture in America. It's just that it's so young and you can't have everything. You can't have that amount of optimism and interest in the world and have all this culture at the same time. Well, that one's interesting also. And this one is a little bit pushy with you guys here in America. Because, well, never forget that the most important word in an American mouth is business. And it's all about business. This is what we tend to forget in Europe sometimes with music. You know, we have all these lovely bands, we can hear them, you hear them once, maybe they make one TV show, but then you don't hear about them anymore. And in America, this doesn't happen, because everything is just thought years, months before to make business. And this is, well, that's the very thing. That's any Germans in this room? Yeah? So, which one is this? It's the Neuschwanstein, yes? Have you guys in America visited that? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful castle. Now, another thing, Europe and the USA. This tends to be not as true as it used to be in the past. Now, I think in Europe as well as in the USA, people tend to buy smaller cars. It's because just it costs too much. Yeah? And the streets are smaller, yes. Now, before I put the next slide, I just wanted to give you a few ideas on the core thing, what you really have to be aware of when you do business with America. The first thing is the matrix. You see on the left-hand side, that's the matrix in Europe. And on the right-hand side, for instance, the yard to a mile, you can't even have enough room in the slide to just show it. Yeah. So this makes it really difficult. And I remember myself when I had to sell my house. I've just sold my house. I live on the Côte d'Azur, which is, of course, the most beautiful part in the world. But now the house is sold. And when I was selling the house, I was advertising this on the American market. I really had to question myself. Square meters to your yard, or what? I mean, this would be very difficult for me. And so you have to be aware of this. And this is another one. You can look and sound very wealthy in America, and nobody will care. They will reward you. Though in Europe, if you earn a lot of money, and specifically in France, you must not talk about it. You must not say it. Otherwise, people just say, you know, wealthy is not something we would reward. And this is really something that we have to be aware of as Europeans. You have to be really structured. You have to have money to be successful in America, because otherwise people don't really look at you. They don't really. This is the experience I had. Do you guys agree? Yeah? More or less. It's difficult, huh? Well, now it's my roadmap. Never talk about sex, politics, and religion in American business. But practice all three, that's right. Yeah. Power breakfast and working lunch. I have signed the most magnificent deal at breakfast. Greetings, shaking hands, first name basis, talk in turn. As a French, I, as you imagine, never talk in turn, so it's very difficult for me to work sometimes in America. Be factual. Use stats, data, and the passive voice. Avoid I. Use we or as a group. Headquarters versus subsidiaries. I have my headquarters in Paris. It's very important for me to have business with America because America needs to talk to the headquarters, even though I live in southeast of France. Time is time, rule is rule, and process is process. You can have the better ideas ever. If you're not in the process, then forget it. Okay? 3 counter arguments. Saving generates revenues and reduce risks. Cost versus benefits, of course. Try and error. This is something I love in America. I remember when I was 27, I'm an entrepreneur, so I was my first company when I was 27. And 8 years later, I failed. When I say this to Americans, they say, wow, this is great. You have learned. When I say this in France, they say, hey, this is no good, okay? Entertainment, think big, okay? And remember, this world is full of ego, so if you want to be successful, you have to move yourself from negotiation to negotiation, okay? And there's no foreign land. It's only the travel who is foreign. Thank you. And this will be available on the web.